Hello, welcome to our September 2023 market update. We're getting through the summer. This is the rough part, so let's hit it. All right, you know the team. I'm Victor.
I'm Max.
I'm glad. Nice to meet you,
Nice
Max.
to meet
Good.
you.
So now we know each other, and you know everyone else. You know the underlying thesis. We keep them the same. 90% of the things you worry about never happen. We make observations, not predictions. Occam's razor, the simplest explanation, is usually the best, and the old economics 101, supply and demand. All right, major market indices. This is as of close of business Thursday the 21st. The Dow up, I'm going to call it 3%. Watch this, the S&P 500, the much broader index. Max, S&P 500 has how many stocks?
$4.99.
$4.99. Much broader, covers a much bigger section. Look at that, 13%, almost four times more than the Dow. Last year the Dow led. This year the S&P is way ahead. And this is amazing. Look at the bottom one on there. NASDAQ, the over-the-counter, the technology, the Amazons, the Googles, the Nvidias, they're under pressure right now, but for the year, up 27%. Wow, okay.
They're just taking a pause.
They're taking a pause. It's the pause that refreshes.
Uh-huh.
All right. Dow Jones Industrial Average. Here's our chart going on right now. You see the 20-day moving average, the top one, then the 50-day. Basically, the 20-day is a 1 month, the 50-day is 90 days, the 200-day is a year. You see, all of them are in a positive trend. However, I want you to notice something about this chart. You'll see almost all the way to the end a high, and then it drops back down. And if you look just before that, you'll see another high, went down, made the new high, came back down. Technically, that is called a head and shoulders. I got a shoulder, runs up to a peak, comes back down, and then did not redo the same time as the high as before. A head and shoulders top is synonymous with weakness in the market. And as we know, August, September, and October are the weakest months in the year. That's why right now we're a little on the defensive side. All right. S&P 500, same pattern. You've got the 200, the 50, and the 200-day moving average. Trend lines are up, but we are going through a head and shoulders top, so we're going to have some weakness. Again, August, September, October, historically, the weak parts of the year every year. And finally, NASDAQ. NASDAQ has been the hot one this year. You still, though, see the head and shoulders top. Sometimes it's a little difficult to see, but you can see it. But again, the 20, the 50, and the 200-day, all are still trending up. But right now, as Max said, we're taking the pause that refreshes.
And it's good that all of these are correlating with each other, and they're all the same. The NASDAQ, the Dow, and the S&P are all correlating with each other.
Absolutely. Well, you know, whether you want to say the Dow confirms the S&P or the S&P confirms the Dow, it's 6 of one and half of the dozen of the other. The key, as Max just said, they need to be going, rephrase that, it's best to be going in the same direction. When you have one going up and one going down, there's no way to know which is going to be the right trend. Mm-hmm. So they're all confirming what we're seeing right now, which is very good technically. All right, this month in the market, Max?
All right, we'll talk about Jackson Hole, jobs, and recession fears. All right, so the Federal Reserve action. Higher interest rates not just for longer, but maybe forever.
This was just a couple of days ago. This is the Fed's latest declaration of what they're doing with rates. What did he say?
Basically, Jerome Powell said on on Wednesday that they're going to hold rates steady and that there is a technical increase probably in November, that they were thinking about doing an increase in November, but for here on out, they're thinking of holding rates steadier for longer.
You know, Max, what's interesting is we all know inflation's coming down. However, there's one wild card. We'll see in a minute all the commodities. They've all been going down. But there's one sector that affects not only America, but the entire world, and actually affects every single product and industry.
Is it oil?
And it's oil. That's it. And what's happening to oil?
Oil's going up. Going up. Yeah.
That's the wild card out there.
And I'm sure you've seen that, especially if you're hearing from the West Coast in California. If you're listening to in California, gas prices are over $6 a gallon there.
Wow.
So you're definitely feeling it in your pocketbook there. All right, so current rates. So as you can see, the current rates here on this chart, these are current rates for during the pandemic in let's go back to 2008. You could see that they were about the same as the pandemic level, relatively flat. Interest rates were flat, and then in basically since COVID, they've just been hiking rates, and now they're at about 5.5%.
Yeah, look at that spike at the end. They moved rates up 20-fold in 1 year. We went from 1/4 of a point to 5.5% in 12 months. That's what caused all the havoc last year.
And is this good? Is this bad? Because you could make the...
You asking me or telling me? Okay.
You could make the comments. A couple years ago, the Fed came out and said, we don't have any bullets in the gun.
Yeah.
If there were something to happen in the economy and the economy needed a jump start, then they didn't have any bullets in the gun to jump start it. So now you could make the case that, yes, now we have bullets in the gun. If the economy needed a jump start and a black swan event were to happen, we could jump start the economy.
Yep, exactly.
All right, mortgage rates. If any of your kids or grandkids are going to buy a house, or yourself is going to buy a house, mortgage rates are high. They are record levels. In January of this year,
they were what?
3.5%,
and
now they're at over 7.5%.
They have more than doubled in 10 months.
Gosh, a good thing we're not going to buy a house.
You're not kidding.
All right. So core CPI. Core CPI is without two major things, and this is a big debate. Core CPI is without food and without energy. Victor just talked about energy prices, and that's increasing inflation. But it's without the major one also is food, which that's a big debate between economists of why we don't have CPI data with those two major things. But as you can see right here with core CPI, basically everything without those two, it is down to 3.25%.
Yep. And look at that.
3.3%. Yeah, but look at that spike.
Right.
So is Jerome Powell doing the job? Is he doing a good job?
I think so. Yep,
yeah, we both agree he's doing his job. It's still their target rate is 2%. Jerome Powell talked about it in the meeting on Wednesday. Their still goal is 2%. So core CPI, where has it been historically? So if you go back to, let's say, 2008, it was around 2%.
Yep.
And then spiked back up and then went all the way down to under? In 2020, I guess CPI was below.
Yeah, you're going to show in a minute the 20-year history. I think.
So, and then it spiked back up. Oh, there we go.
All right.
So we got jobs. Gains eased in summer months. Unemployment increased in August. So the job readings eased in the summer months and then increased again in August. The jobs numbers are going down. So that is good for the economy.
You know what's so confusing to so many people? They go, wait a minute, jobs are going down? That's good? Jobs going down. And here's the deal. The Fed wants jobs to go down. Why do they want jobs? What's the rationale on that one, Max?
The reason the Fed wants jobs to go down is because if jobs go down, that means inflation is going down. People aren't going to spend the money. The consumer makes 60% of the economy. That means they're going out, they're spending their money. So if they're not spending the money, inflation is going down, and they can hit their target percent.
Yeah, watch this. Now, here's your 20-year chart on inflation.
Yeah, this is what you were talking about earlier, Vic. The 20 years. 2020, inflation was 2.18%.
2.18%. And watch this. It goes, what happens the next year?
It more than doubles in 2021. 4.75%. And then in 2022, another double, 9.1% in July of 2022.
So look at that. In 2 years, it went up over 400%, from 2% to over 9%,
Wow.
4 times as much in 2 years.
Wow, that is
Wow.
crazy.
Yep, that's called heartburn, I think.
That's called printing money.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
All right, so inflation. So has the Fed been successful in slowing inflation? We just briefly talked about it. Where are we now? Let's look at the actual numbers. Both Vic and I believe that Jerome Powell's been doing a great job with the cards he's been dealt. But so where have commodity prices been? So right now it's in the top left is Brent crude oil.
Right.
You could see that in 2022 that it was at its peak. It's come down. It's starting to come back up a little bit. That's why you've seen the price of gas come up.
Lumber prices.
Prices.
Look at that. Wow.
That was at 1,500, and now it's below 500.
Yep.
So that's a 300% decrease.
Wow. Wow.
Then you have on the top left or the bottom left, you have wheat that spiked during Ukraine, and then now it's come back down. And then in the bottom right, you have coffee. Vic since coffee's gone down, has your coffee decreased?
I was just going to say, wait, I went to Starbucks and my coffee didn't go back down. What happened?
You still have a $7 coffee?
No, really. The truth be told, I go to Dunkin' Donuts.
So instead of 7, it's 5.
No, 450.
Oh, 450. All right, so mission accomplished. This is the Bloomberg Commodity Index. Basically, this is the S&P 500 of all the commodities. So you can see from the top to the bottom, it's about a 22% drop since July of 2022. So mission accomplished in terms of commodities, bringing down inflation.
That's a huge move.
That is a huge move. But remember, we talked about this before. In core inflation, 40% of it is made up of rents and housing.
Yeah.
So we have to see a dramatic decrease in that, and then we'll be able to see a dramatic decrease.
You know, and Max, before you go on, there are some hot spots. New York, Florida, Tampa was one that the housing prices are staying back up. But around the rest of the country, they're slowing down. But it depends on where you live. So in some places, they're staying high. In a lot of places, they are starting to slow down. And as Max said, 40% of the consumer price index is housing related, whether you're buying or renting.
Yeah. Europe. All right, let's go across the pond. Throw a rock across the pond.
Those stubborn Europeans.
Those stubborn Europeans. All right, so stubborn inflation proves difficult to tame in Europe. So the Eurozone inflation remains stubbornly high, even as other signs point to a slowing economy. The European Central Bank, with a tricky task of cooling already anemic demand without pushing the region into a prolonged recession. Europe is behind the 8 ball. They aren't as growing. Their GDP isn't growing as fast as us. They actually came out this week and said they're not raising rates again.
Yep.
So
day before yesterday,
they came out and said they're not raising rates. Actually, also Japan said the same thing this morning. They're not raising rates. So we'll see what happens with them. Their economy isn't growing as fast as ours. Luckily, we're growing. We'll see what happens with Europe. Europe is also, in that whole war with Ukraine, so they're dealing with that more than we are. So the future, AI and the weight loss craze. I'm sure you've heard of both of those in your news and reading about different stories. I'm sure you've heard a lot about it. All right, so the ever-changing world of AI. Vic, do you want to do this one?
Yeah, sure. You know, you'll hear this AI. What is our AI? Well, I was going to say, what does AI stand for?
Artificial intelligence.
And what's the first word in that?
Artificial.
You know, we're seeing a lot of computer learning, and candidly, artificial intelligence is very good. It's moving along quickly. However, they've come up with some false number. They've come up with some things they've made up. So we still need to work it. But now you're seeing it around there. You're seeing every industry in the world is looking to it. I think artificial intelligence is going to be as impactful as the internet going out to everybody. It's going to impact everything we do. It's going to make a lot of us better. As a matter of fact, a very good illustration is you can give an AI computer, and the key is you don't have to talk programming, you talk in normal language. Write a story about, and you throw in some facts. The reason you'll see this right now, what are they doing in Hollywood right now?
The Actors and Writers Guild, they're in a huge dispute right now because, like Victor just said, you could say, hey, ChatGPT, write me a script about Victor Connor's life, and here are some of the highlights of Victor Connor's life, and create a movie.
And they can.
And they can. And you can have their whole other AI system create action figures of Victor and what he would look like and all of this stuff.
Can I go back to 35? I'll take it.
Aren't you 40 now?
Yes.
So there's 5 years.
I'll take it. What's interesting, we have a client who is a movie writer and director. He's leaving the industry to a degree because of the AI. And he told me the other day, one of the things that they're having a debate about, they wanted to take the digital pictures of extras, pay them one time, and then AI would just use the same extras over and over without paying them.
Because there's so many facial expressions of these extras that it can just copy and say, okay, this is what their face would look like doing this. This is what their face would look like doing that. So it's going to increase the productivity of the economy, but at what detriment?
Yeah, we don't know the answer to that one. That's a wild card. And the other thing is, I'll say this before you change because Wiz comes up next. Here's the deal. AI is here. It's real. Mm-hmm. And you've got to do one of two things. And those two things are, Max?
Adapt and improvise.
Or get left behind.
And so are we adapting and improvising, Vic?
You got to.
Yep.
I'm not getting left behind.
So how are we using generative AI, which we just talked about, in our practice? So we're income tax planning and using AI analysis software. When was the last time your tax preparer called you to discuss strategies of how to lower your taxes or make tax planning more efficient? So our software looks at the opportunities in the current tax code you may take advantage of currently. Our review will help you identify those opportunities and plan opportunities that we can identify. So actionable insights such as more efficient tax giving or deploy any strategies to minimize estate tax or liabilities, and also Roth conversions.
Yep.
We will work with your tax preparer to discuss these issues.
Yeah, stay here before you go on.
Yeah.
And one of the things, as Max brought up in the very beginning, I want you to think about this. When was the last time your preparer called you and said, you know what, we need to do some tax planning? By the time they talk to you, it's February and March, and you can't tax plan for the year before. We're not doing tax returns. We're not going to replace your preparer. But what we are going to do is right now we are doing returns for people and looking for opportunities. We try to find things that can benefit them, and then we'll talk with your accountant, or you can talk to them and say, can this help me? But you've got to be ahead of the game. Everything we talk about, Social Security, investment planning. Do I take it out of my Roth? Do I take it out of my IRA? Do I take it out of my tax deferred? Do I take it out of my taxable account? That's all got to be coordinated. And if whoever does your taxes doesn't do some planning, you get left behind and you miss opportunities and you pay more than you have to. So we've not going to get left behind. We've now incorporated artificial intelligence to review and scan these returns and come up with ideas.
Yeah, and like Vic just said, we're not trying to replace your accountant. We're trying to work as all a team. We're working for you, and we're trying to work as a team and work what's best for you, not trying to replace anybody else.
Absolutely.
All right, Ozempic and the weight loss solution. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this. I'm sure your friends or family or might be even on it. It has been supposedly great, and we've heard great things, but we thought we brought it to your attention. It's something different. So Ozempic, the weight loss drugs carry costly and complicated logistics. We didn't realize the soaring popularity of Ozempic and similar weight loss drugs is driving the business for some of the largest pharmaceutical distributors in the U.S., but the benefits aren't necessarily flowing to the company's bottom line.
Yeah, and one of the keys is they give you this drug, and it stops your hunger. What do you call it? Your hunger drive?
Yeah, your drive for hunger.
You drive for what? Is that the difference in hunger drive? You don't feel hungry. And so, yeah, we've seen a number of people use it and have lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, and it's great. I mean, it's great if you think about it. If you lose weight, it's great for your health. It's great for your joints. It's great for a multitude of purposes in your body. So But I guess right now they're trying to work out the logistics of it, because the shipping this is very costly because you have to keep it at a controlled temperature.
Yeah, you got to keep it refrigerated.
Yeah, and keeping it at a controlled temperature. So that's not flowing to the bottom line, but I'm sure they'll work out the logistics
Wait a minute.
of it.
Once you get it, if you have to keep it at a controlled temperature, is it good to keep your weight loss drug in the refrigerator?
So then you can grab some food at
Exactly.
the same time. Yeah, I guess you just don't chop.
Exactly.
Keep nothing in there. All right, so the bull and bear market history. Vic, you want to do this one?
You know, what's so important is one of the things we try to do is bring history and perspective in this. If you watch CNBC every day, they've got a countdown that whatever is going on today, 3 hours of this, 2 hours and 45 minutes. The time horizon on television today is the end of the business day. Nobody has any historical perspective. I want you to look at this. The blue charts, the big mountains, those are the those are the bull markets. And we're going to give you a summary of this in a minute, make it easier. The little orange or yellowish ones on the bottom circled in red, those are the down or the bear markets. When you summarize that, okay, now go on. Look at this. This pattern has repeated itself since 1926. That ought to be about
Almost
90s.
going on 100 years.
I was going to say about 97 years. Now watch this. The average bear or down market lasts 11 months. The average bull market lasts 6.5 years. The problem is when you're going through that 11 months, all they talk about is the world is going to end.
Yeah.
We have an expression, world is ending,
Film
film at
at
11. That's
11.
it, exactly. So I know the last couple of years, because, you know, the last couple of years we had about 3 things happen all together. We had 2020, we had COVID. Then we had a good one in 21, and then all of a sudden last year, inflation goes up 400% from a quarter.
Wow.
24. Wow, I know, it's amazing. So we've had a few bad years in a row, which statistically means we're due for some good years in a row. So while you're doing it, it's very tough to go, oh my God, I can see the long term. We're here to hand that perspective to you.
So Vic, when it turns 2026, are we going to change that to 100 years?
Exactly. Yes. Yes. But wait a minute. I'm not the golfer. Who's that guy? I don't know. Who's the guy on the left there?
That's Roy McIlroy.
What makes it? Who is he?
He's one of the best golfers in the world.
So he probably knows how to play golf, right?
Yeah, he probably knows how to play
Who's
golf.
the senior guy on the right?
His coach.
Wait a minute. If he's the number one in the world, he ought to know how to play golf. What does he need a coach for?
Keeps him mentally sharp and keeps him locked in, and it shows him how to play the game.
No matter how good you are, if you really want to be the best, you need a coach. And what's interesting, if you look at that's Mark McCormick, his coach. If you see the little picture underneath him, that's him coaching McIlroy. How do you say it?
Roy McIlroy.
Roy McIlroy, when he was 10 years old at the Hollywood, Florida golf course.
Wow.
And now he's number 1 in the world. Wow.
So you need a coach.
If you want to do good, you need a coach. If you don't have a coach, let's see what happens. Oh.
So if you don't have a coach, all professional athletes and teams have coaches. Why? To develop a discipline and remove emotion. That's the big thing, is remove emotion and have a discipline. And what Victor and I both played sports, and a funny story.
We were
talking about this the other day. Funny story is I played golf. Victor rode horses. And when I played golf, my dad was my coach, and I would be hitting balls, and I would think, oh, I'm hitting it right. Why is it going the wrong way? And he would be standing there videotaping me behind me, and I'd be like, no, I'm doing it right. I'm doing it right. Sure enough, he'd pull it out his camera and say, are you sure? And look, and sure enough, I was doing it wrong. So, and Vic, I'm sure you had a similar experience.
I competed in horses for 25 years, and I swear, my wife and my coaches would always say, as you go over the jump, you are raising your hands. You're trying to lift the horse. Keep your hands still. And I'm thinking about it. I'm not doing it. I swear to you, I'm not doing it. And they videoed me, and guess what?
You were doing it.
I was doing it. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you got to have someone else, third party, to help you do the best. Absolutely.
And I'm sure if you went back and looked back and you played sports, you said, oh my gosh, I need a coach. I need a coach to keep me mentally, to get me out of those droughts, or to look at everything that's happening and have a discipline. So
you got to have a discipline.
That's where we come in. We're your coach for your financial discipline and for your financial emotions.
By the way, just to make one thing clear, if you have a coach, does that mean you don't have any problems?
No.
You still have problems, but you have someone to help you address it. So we're there. It doesn't mean we won't have any problems. That's life. You're going to have problems. But we know how to do the financial problems and how to get out of them. Whether you have the golf course coach, the horse coach, they can see what your problems are and correct you a lot better than you can do yourself.
Yes. So back to this Dalbar study. This is an independent study. This isn't our study. The average investor returns over a 20-year period is, let's say, 2%.
Yep.
The average market returns 6%.
3 times better. 300% better. Yep.
Yeah. So we tie it all together. Those that fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Those that learn from history can prosper. We add historical context. Why does history repeat and so many fail to learn? Times change, but human nature does
not. Yep.
So see, these are some of our on-demand workshops. Invite your friends, invite your family, invite whoever. So these are some of the upcoming workshops. Email us. We have a YouTube channel. We have Facebook. Follow us. Give us a follow. So we got estate planning. We got taxes and retirement, navigating your Social Security, or savvy IRA planning. And if you have interest in any of these seminars or anything else you'd like us to talk about, email us.
Yep,
we'll respond.
You mean we'll do estate planning in your living room?
In your living room. So
and not only that, the food is good. We'll serve exactly what you want.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, we're here looking out for you.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.